Welcome to Campus Paper. This is part 2 of IGCSE Chemistry, Paper 2, Variant 2, October-November 2023. This part 2 covers question 21 to 40. Let's continue. Question 21. Which method is used to produce insoluble salt? So insoluble salt, that means precipitation. Let's look at the option. A, addition of excess insoluble base to an acid, that's wrong. B, addition of excess metal to an acid, that's wrong. C, precipitation using two aqueous solution, that is correct. So insoluble salts are produced by precipitation of two aqueous solutions. The noble gases are in group 8 of the periodic table. Some properties of the first four noble gases are shown. Have it here. Which row identifies the trend in boiling point and in density as group 8 is descended? So what that means is that you are going down the group from helium to krypton. What is the trend of the boiling point and density? So look at our boiling point. As you're going down, the group is obviously increasing. This is a negative number. So be careful so that you don't think that it's decreasing. It's actually increasing. So it's increasing. So that means boiling point is increasing. Our answer is between B and D. So let's look at our density. Our density increases. Look at it from 0.1 to 0.9 to 1.7 to 3.7. So it's increasing. So therefore, the answer is B. Boiling point is increasing, density is increasing. Question 23. Some properties of element R are shown. This is the property. We have the melting point, boiling point, reaction with cold water, reaction when heated with oxygen. In which part of the periodic table is R found? So from these properties, we should be able to know the melting point is 98. And since the melting point is 98, that means it is not a transition metal. We have a higher melting point. And obviously, it's not group 8 because it should have a lower melting point. And then group 7 also has a non-metal, should have a lower melting point. So that leaves us our answer to be A. We can also confirm it by this. Reaction with cold water gives off hydrogen gas. That's a metal. When metals react with cold water, hydrogen gas is given off. So which means it's a metal. And if it is a metal, that means it should be a group 1. Because group 1 are metals. Next question, question 24. Which pair of compounds shows that transition elements have variable oxidation state? So that means they have more than one oxidation state. So that means we have to calculate the oxidation state of each transition metal in this compound. So let's start with the first one. We already know oxygen is -2, so -2 times 3 is going to give us -6. Now if oxygen is -6, that means our chromium 2 is going to be +6. And then we have two of them. So we divide it by 2. That means the oxidation state of chromium here is +3. So here our bromine is in group 7. So it's going to be minus. And we have 3 of it. So -3. And if it is -3, then our chromium is +3. So chromium have the same oxidation here. So this is not chromium. Then we have copper here. Sulfate is 2 minus. So that means our copper is going to be +2. Then chlorine here will be -2 because chlorine also is in group 7. They have valency of 1, so we have 2 chlorine here going to be -2, which means our copper is +2. The copper is out. That's not the answer. Then let's try this ion. We have oxygen here. That will be -6. -2 times 2 is -6. That means our ion here is going to be +6 divided by 2, which is +3. And here our chlorine is the same thing, -2. Then our ion is going to be +2. So therefore, our answer is C. Because ion, which is a transition element here, is showing variable oxidation state, +3 and +2. Question 25. The list gives the order of some metals and hydrogen in the reactivity series. Metal S is also included. This is it. So you need your knowledge of reactivity series to answer this question. Which row shows the properties of metal X? Reacts with dilute acid. Metal X is less reactive than hydrogen, so it will not react. That means it's less reactive. So that means it's not going to react with dilute acid. So answer is between A and B. Oxide is reduced by carbon. That will be yes. Why? Because all elements below carbon in the reactivity series can be reduced by carbon. And carbon is above hydrogen in the reactivity series. So since carbon is above hydrogen, so we have our carbon around here. That means every metal that is down here can be reduced by carbon. So the answer is yes. So therefore, our answer is B. Next question. When zinc is added to an aqueous solution containing magnesium ions, there is no reaction. Which species has the greatest tendencies to lose electron? So the answer is simple, A. A will have the greater tendency to lose electron because it is not stable yet. Magnesium, this is 2F2, so it can easily lose this electron. But here, it has already lost 2 electrons, so it is stable. It is now 2H. So to remove electron from here will be very hard. Then for zinc, zinc is less reactive than magnesium. So generally, the tendency to remove electrons in magnesium is greater than that of zinc. So it's even out. So our answer therefore is A, magnesium. It has the greatest tendency to lose electrons. Next question. Which gas in the air is needed for iron to rust? Simple question. That will be D, oxygen. Rusting needs oxygen. So rusting basically is iron plus oxygen plus water. Question 28. Which coating prevents iron from rusting even when the coating is damaged? That will be D, which is galvanizing. So galvanizing is done using zinc, and when iron is galvanized, the coating prevents the iron from rusting even when the coating is damaged. 29. Why is limestone added to the blast furnace? The limestone is added to the blast furnace to remove impurity, that is slag. That is the purpose. So let's look at our option. It neutralizes the molten slag produced. No. It reacts with impurities to form slag. That's correct. Question 30. The flow chart shows stages in the treatment of river water to produce drinking water, as domestic purification of water. What occurs as stages J and K? So we have from river water, sedimentation in the tank. Stage J will be filtration. This is where filtration takes place. And K will be chlorination, which is the last stage. And then we have our drinking water. So it's filtration and chlorination. That will mean that our answer is C. Question 31. Carbon dioxide acts as a greenhouse gas by interacting with a particular type of energy that radiates from the Earth's surface into the atmosphere. Which type of energy is involved, and what happens when the energy interacts with carbon dioxide molecules? So the type of energy obviously is thermal, and then what happens is that, let's check, carbon dioxide molecules increase the Earth's energy lost to space. No. Carbon dioxide molecules absorb the energy, yes, therefore making the Earth to be warmer. So the answer is B. Question 32. Oxides of nitrogen, such as these and these, are formed in the petrol engines of cars. They are removed from the exhaust gases by reaction in the car's catalytic converter. Which road describes how oxides of nitrogen are formed in a petrol engine and a reaction that happens in the catalytic converter? So how oxides of nitrogen are formed? Now the oxides of nitrogen are formed by the reaction between nitrogen and oxygen from the air. That is how it is formed. So let's look at our option that has that. Option A and B has that. So our answer is between A and B by the reaction between nitrogen and oxygen from air. A reaction that happens in the catalytic converter. So the reaction is going to be nitrogen oxide plus carbon monoxide to give us nitrogen and carbon dioxide, which is A. So our answer therefore is A. Don't forget the essence of the catalytic converter is to change carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide, because carbon monoxide is a more dangerous gas than carbon dioxide. So our answer is A. Question 33. Which diagram shows the display formula for the name organic compound? So that means they're asking us which diagram has the correct name. So ethanoic acid. This is wrong. Ethanoic acid is a carboxylic acid, so it's supposed to have functional group COOH, not COOOH. So A is wrong. B, ethene. It is also wrong because carbon is supposed to have 4 bonds, not more than 4. If you look at our carbon here, it's having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is also having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is wrong. Our ethene is supposed to be C2H4, not C2H6. Then here we have ethanol. This is correct. We have our OH functional group and we have 2 carbon, therefore it is ethanol. So our answer is C. Why is D not correct? Methane. Methane is supposed to have 1 carbon, not 2 carbon. So our answer is definitely C. Question 34. What is the total number of covalent bonds in a molecule of butane? So that means we need to draw the molecule of butane and then we count the number of covalent bonds. So let's draw butane. We have 4 carbons, then we have 10 hydrogens. So this is the molecule of butane. So let's count the covalent bond. Just count the number of bonds here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the number of covalent bonds is 13. Question 35. Propane reacts with chlorine in a substitution reaction. Which reaction condition is required for the reaction to occur? The answer is obviously D. Why? Because the reaction of alkane and halogen is a photochemical reaction. That means a reaction that requires light. That light is ultraviolet light. So our answer is D. The reason why ultraviolet light is used is to provide activation energy needed for that substitution reaction to take place. Question 36. The structure of an organic compound is shown. This is it. Which structure represents a molecule that reacts with steam to produce this product? So we are looking at which structure forms this that reacts with steam, which is water, to form this. So let's look at the option. Option A is wrong. Why? Because here we have 3 carbon and here we're having 2. So option A is definitely wrong. Option B is also wrong because this is an addition reaction. That means water is added. So definitely it is not an alkane because alkane do not undergo addition reaction, they undergo substitution reaction. And this one is also wrong because it is an alcohol also. So the react with water is not going to give us another alcohol. That means our answer is D. Now, to confirm that our answer is D, it is an alkene double bond. So when you add steam, the double bond breaks open and then our OH and hydrogen will be added. You know, our steam is water, which is, so when this double bond breaks open, hydrogen will be added here, and then OH will be added here, giving us this product. So our answer is D. What term describes a nylon? Nylon is a polyamide, so our answer is C. Please take note of that. And the reason why nylon is polyamide is because it has the amide link. If you draw the structure of nylon, it's going to show you the amide link. So take note of that. Nylon is a polyamide. It is not a polyester, and it is not a natural polymer. Example of natural polymer is protein. Okay. Then it is not addition polymerization because addition polymers are formed between alkenes. Next question, question 38. Ethene can be polymerized. Which diagram represents the structure of the product form? So in polymerization of ethene, we are going to get a polymer. So A is wrong because this is the structure of ethene, not a polymer of ethene. And then B is also wrong because when ethene forms a polymer, the double bond is no longer supposed to be there. And also, you know, carbon can only form 4 bonds. If you look at this carbon, it's having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is having 5. So it's impossible. So this is wrong also. And C is our correct answer because this is the product that will be formed, which is a polymer. D is totally wrong. It is not even an ethene. Next question, question 39. An acid-base titration is described. 25 centimeter cube of dilute aqueous alkali is put into a conical flask. Indicator is added to the flask. Dilute acid is added to the aqueous alkali until the indicator changes color. The volume of acid used is then recorded. This is just process of that acid-base titration. Now, which use of apparatus is correct? A. The 25 centimeter cube of aqueous alkali is measured using a volumetric pipette. That's correct. So A is the answer. So let's check the other option. The 25 centimeter cube of aqueous alkali is measured using the lines on the conical flask. That's wrong. The volume of acid is measured using a measuring cylinder. No, that's wrong. The volume of acid is measured using volumetric pipette. That's wrong. That's also wrong. So our correct answer is A. Question 40, the last question. Substance Q is investigated using chromatography. The chromatogram is shown. The diagram is not drawn to scale. This is it. What is the RF value of Q? That is, what is the retention factor? And to calculate the retention factor, we use the formula. Our RF is equal to distance traveled by the substance, that is in this case Q, divided by distance traveled by the solvent, which is here our solvent fund. Now you need to be careful not to jump in and answer this question because you likely make mistake. Student will likely use 144 divided by 83 as our distance of solvent and distance of substance. So you need to check here. If you check here, we have the baseline. So the distance traveled by the solvent is from the baseline. Take note of that. And also the distance traveled by the substance is from the baseline. So that means our distance traveled by the substance, which is Q, is going to be 83 minus 13. So our answer is going to be equal to 83 minus 13, that is to remove this, divide by 114 minus 13. So this will give us 70 divided by 101, which is equal to 0.69. So therefore, our answer is C. That will bring us to the end of this paper. If this helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.